Good evening. I am today in spots like our crypto unit and average logo. Hopefully you are all fine. Let's do our regular sound check first. Well, we will start our today's webinar about the crypto unit and blockchain and exchange news. This is the second Thursday of month. My name is Maria Antonenko. I'm the head of Blockchain Implementation Department. And next slide, please. Well, today at 2 p.m. Moscow time, we launched conversion of CRU to world CRUs, and every time when we launch a new product on blockchain or the exchange, for many people it's a stress situation, as this is something new we have never seen, have never done and tested, and there are a lot of questions to date. And at my webinars, I always try actually to remedy all the malfunctions. We are flying on the plane, but let's discuss these errors. So what does it mean to convert CRU to world CRU and those problems and challenges the partners faced? There will be seven easy steps to convert CRUs to world CRUs, and let's dwell on it a bit, as many partners are dissatisfied already, disappointed already, that the fee for the conversion is not taken in a single way for a package, but in pieces, 1, 2, 3 US dollars as a sum up for the entire blocking. And partners are complaining that we take extra US dollars, we charge them a lot. But look, people are not forward-looking people. And at one of the webinars, I gave this example. You look at the hole of the lock. If you want to see what is behind the door, you will see only this small hole of the lock on the door. But actually, today's World CRU token is sold at 35 cents, and you exchange CRU, which once was provided as a bonus, as a gift. And people refuse to acknowledge the fact that these CRU token points were provided as gifts. So no one sold them to you. They were provided as a supplement, and you do it on a voluntarily basis. You may retain your CRU tokens. You are not forced and made to be in a hurry and spend your US dollars to convert. And there was the leadership webinar, and I explained it to Russian leaders what world CRU points are and what conversion means. I can give you the same example. Look, quite likely you fly different planes. In Russia, we have the largest airlines, Aeroflot, and for each flight, you get some miles of Aeroflot. And if you accumulate 20,000 as a gift, 20,000 miles as a gift, you can exchange them into the real flight by plane, but you need to pay extra. So airlines will not take you simply for your miles. So there is some extra payment, either the fuel fee or airport fee. So you always pay your real money, a smaller amount, but it could not happen that free of charge, you can get something, only having some gift points. And therefore, this fee goes to UGPA Group back office. This is the Swiss company that gets your CRU token as a payment for World CRU. So it accepts them as the airlines accepts your miles, only asking to pay for this small charge, 1, 2, or up to $100 in some cases. But this is a penny compared to what you get in the value of World CRUs. Please calculate your benefit of this conversion. If you convert 1,000 CRUs into 1,000 World CRUs that cost today 35 cents and you pay only $1, please calculate your benefit, your advantage. Why are you only complaining? If you don't like, you don't need to convert, but don't complain. Don't scream that the company has done something wrong. The company has provided you the gift. So it is too generous to provide 35 billion World CRUs to be so for the conversion of CRU's token into. And therefore, please understand this, that the process is really serious. It's not conversion of one coin into another. You acquire World CRU from UGPay Group and you pay for this purchase through your CRU tokens and US dollars. Please remember this. You must understand this, that you buy World CRUs, but not exchange something into something else. Next slide. Step number 1. If you already tested and look through the instructions or the guidelines, you are great, but most of our partners do not read the guidelines and are in a hurry to press buttons. It's very important before you start working with your wallet to click the refresh frozen and refresh balance buttons. If you have a small amount frozen, you cannot even see these figures changing. But if there are 5, 6, 60, please wait until you see every figure. Do not change the pages. Many people click the button refresh and then go immediately to a different tab. So this operation is not complete. You will need to do it from a start. Therefore, press refresh frozen and wait until all the figures stop. There will be 40 transactions, 1 of 30, 2 of 30, 3 of 30, and 40 of 40, until all of them are unfrozen, and then you press refresh balance. If there is no change of your figures, your period of unfreezing is not due. So it's very important that after pressing this button, refresh frozen, smart contract checks every transaction, every token, whether it is due to be unfrozen. If not, then we go to step number 2. Someone is asking, is it the Russian or English room? It's the Russian one, but there is the translation provided. Next slide, please. Step number 2 is the following. Add UNTB staking to CPU net wallet resources, so that in your wallet you have RAM. And today, let us dwell in detail. I will try to explain what RAM, CPU, and NET are, as I understand that many partners, when a year ago we told you about our blockchain without wallets on hands, you were listening to this information, but you didn't understand what we were talking about. Whereas now, when you have your wallets on hands, on hands, you must clearly understand what RAM, CPU, and net are. And let's take an example of your PC. So every PC has RAM. So this is memory, operational memory. And when you buy your PC, this hardware, there is the processor inside. For instance, Intel Pentium 8 or iCore 9. MacBooks have M1. This is a processor. And if you, from your PC, take away this board with RAM, I don't know how to call it, a small platform board with many things on it, electrodes. If you take this panel away from your PC, trying to work on it, it will never work. But if you take away a processor, Intel Pentium 5 or 10, the computer will not work. So CPU equals to your processor. RAM is operational memory, and net is internet connection and access to socket, to the power. If we take everything away, trying to work on our PC, it will never work. Or for instance, your TV set is plugged out from the socket, or the aerial is not functional. So the TV set won't work. And our wallet is similar. So you need to follow the availability of RAM. There is this wheel, yellow wheel at the top. So the RAM used, the RAM left. At the start, each one is provided with kilobits of RAM. Whereas now you occupied 3 out of 16. But in case people stake for UNTB and press refresh every half an hour, then this entry refresh, all this occupies space in your wallet, in your RAM. And it's similar to us typing some text on the PC. So there is one line typed and the RAM is small. Then you type the second, the third, and you see that the size of the file is already 4 kilobits. And every transaction, every action you take in your wallet where the transaction is entered, they are similar to these entries in your files. They occupy the RAM, the memory of your wallet. CPU stands for the speed of data processor. If your processor is outdated in your PC, Intel Pentium 2, the modern software, even PowerPoint, could not be opened because its capacity is not enough. Its brains are not enough. And CPU in our wallet makes up its brains. And for instance, to process conversion, for instance, you have a few things frozen, 3 of them, objects only. Then to process them, our wallet takes 3 seconds to process. But if you have 60 of them frozen, then it will take our wallet to process it in 60 microseconds. Not the full second, but longer compared if we have only 1-2 transactions. When there are a lot of them, transactions, so you need to expand the capacity, the processing capacity of the wallet. And I recommend to stake 50 for CPU and 50 for net. If you have a lot of transactions, so don't be greedy. Staking, UNTB staking for CPU and net is of temporary nature. You may stake even 10,000 UNTBs when there is no need to convert CRU into world CRU, you will press unstake, but don't press it until 0, because many people press unstake UNTB from CPU to 100%. You cannot do it. You are not allowed to do it. You are banned to do it. So IT guys must be informed to delete this button that it could be unstaked to 100%. It's similar for your unplugging your socket, and you still want your wallet to operate. You are not allowed to sell RAM to 0 left. Without operational memory, your wallet will not work. And today, partners write, I enter my wallet, did nothing, and my CPU is equal to 0. Where did it come? So CPU is calculated depending on the load on the network. If there is the aggressive load on the blockchain, 50,000 people at the same time trying to convert, the blockchain CPU requires more capacity, more resource. And if in your staking CPU, you have only 4 UNTB you got at the start, then the blockchain at large says, no CPU, with 4 tokens, I cannot do anything, because today the load on the network is very high. All the transactions of conversion of CRU to world CRU are very intensive. And if you see that you did nothing to your wallet, but CPU is 0, it means that you have very little UNTB staking for CPU, and your task is to wait until it adds to 1 or 2%. And don't be greedy. If you want your wallet to be well functioning, don't be in a hurry to sell all the UNTB you staked, but keep them in your CPU and work with your wallet. Buy RAM, enough RAM, don't sell it. Guys, I'm so irritated that our partners are really greedy for UNTB staked for CPU. They try to sell them at the exchange. Will you become richer for another 2 US dollars? Quite opposite. You need to buy UNTB at the exchange if you have a small package of CRU and at least 50 UNTB to be available. And you'd better arrange 1,000, up to 1,000. We have a system wallet that is today responsible for conversion. If you are not lazy, on the Blockchain Explorer, you may find EOS.io smart contract, and there in that wallet, this is a system account. We staked for CPU 30,000 UNTBs because this account is working really hard, and therefore 30,000 UNTBs are available. And I will give you an example. The exchange wallet, EOS wallet, there we staked 30,000 EOS, but today it costs $7 US. 30,000 EOS makes up 20,000 US staked for CPU in the wallet. This is the exchange wallet. The fees charged, so they are staked so that the wallet is working. In Ethereum, it's different because there we spend the commission and will never be come back. But in EOS system and Blockchain Cryptounit blockchain, what we stake, we can always take it away. If we don't need this traffic anymore, we will take these UNTBs and dispose of them at your choice. So therefore, don't be greedy and stake as many as you can. And the only thing to remember that when you unstake, the period of unstaking is 72 hours. RAM purchase. RAM is dependent on the activity of partners on blockchain. If you see the common statistics. In the left-hand corner, RAM is occupied 64%. We have 5 blockchain nodes, and almost 35 gigabits are occupied, as there are a lot of transactions. All of them are stored on blockchain nodes, and the less RAM we have left on nodes, the more expensive RAM is, because we need to buy extra servers of 64 gigabits for each node, whereas afterwards it will be 128. And the more we pay for servers for blockchain nodes, the more expensive RAM will be.
The more people use blockchain, the more expensive all the resources are, and the more UNTBs are necessary. That's why UNTB is a very valuable utility token. So those people who sell it for peanuts in 1 year, 2 year will regret that, because if you take a look at EOS, it costs $7, then $4, then $7, and so on. So there is a whole system that increases the demand of the system token, utility token, when a new product is launched. So our conversion, CRU to World CRU, can be considered as a blockchain new product. If there is a new application on blockchain, let's say casino or something else, where you need to spend UNTB and open wallets, then of course you will have, or the developer of the application, or the launcher of the application, will have to buy UNTBs for RAM, for CPU, for what's the third resource? Net, right? So just keep in mind that UNTBs are always staked in your CPU net, and you always buy RAM, so that yellow wheel is not complete. So if you see that 20% of RAM is occupied, buy a little bit more, make it 10% occupied, and the rest of it free. Okay, thanks, Rita. Third step, we updated our balances. We staked our UNTB to get more resources for CPU and net. We bought some RAM, and now we need to choose our schedule. So what are our questions here on the unfreezing schedule? So what is under the asterisk unfreeze schedule? It's reference information. You see, if you click on unfreeze schedule, you can't really do anything with that schedule. You can just use it as a tentative estimate. It's just tentatively shows you how many frozen items you have and the approximate schedule. The true schedule will be shown in the contract calls, whereas here it's purely reference information for your information. And that schedule, the blue one with the arrow, will show you the conversion. Someone is asking, where is this asterisk? It's white on blue. In English, it says unfreeze schedule. So that's the one. You see, there is like a snowflake close to it. It's asterisk, star, call it whatever you want. So, and there is a slider, you see, in the bottom. And you can move it to the right and to the left, depending on the unfreezing schedule. If you want to exchange CRUs that are older than 365 days, then it will show you all the CRUs, or it's not the best way to say older, meaning CRUs that will be unfrozen in more than 365 days. That's the better way to put it. So you see, it goes at an incremental pace, 1%, 2%, 3%, and so on. And you see the biggest bars, the highest bars, means 5% per month. And then it drops rapidly. And again, the unfreezing happens slowly. It means that those gift CRUs that were given in the beginning that get unlocked in 365 days, plus those that get unlocked in 540 days under the marketing plan. So if they are unlocked, unfrozen by 5%, overall, they give you a huge bulk of unfreezing. And the rest means that on that account in January 2020, there were some gift CRUs given to all the partners. Remember, all the partners of Cryptounit program, I remember somewhere on the 8th of 10th of January 2020, gift CRUs were given, and those CRUs take 440 days to unfreeze. So the later the purchase, quote unquote, was made, the worse is the unfreeze schedule. So basically, you can decide yourself the cutoff line. You can slide the schedule to 2022 or 2021. It's up to you. Just decide how many CRUs you want to exchange, to convert into World CRU right now by manipulating with that chart. Not manipulating, by playing around with that chart. Some people say that you cannot enter the amount in the field if you want to, for example, exchange 50% of the CRUs. But if you put, like, if you enter manually 50%, it will, the system will choose 50% on its own, but it will start from the those CRUs that will be exchanged way later. So that's how the smart contract works. You cannot like hand pick. So it is developed in such a way that it converts automatically, but it does it from the end, so that you first exchange those CRUs that will get unlocked way later. So let's see our step 4 here. When you did click on the button convert, so you picked the amount that you want to convert, you clicked convert, and that's what you're gonna get. Lower on your wallet, crypto wallet page, you will see the so-called unfreezing items. There will be a title called pending exchange transactions. Pending means it's like in waiting. Those transactions are waiting to be paid for. People are still asking questions about the chart. Guys, that slider can be moved from the end, from the right to the left, not from the left to the right. So you know what? So the more CRUs you want to convert, the closer you get to the actual date of purchase. I don't know how else to explain it to you. So imagine that you have a lot of preserves in your house. I know in Russia, they very often, not in Russia, across the world, people in fear of the nuclear war, they had bunkers and used to keep preserves there. And those preserves had different expiry dates. So for example, you see that your preserve is about to expire. So you either eat it or you exchange it, right? So the same is here. Meaning, why would you wait 1,000 days to be unlocking? Because a World CRU gets unfrozen in like 365 days, right? So why would you wait for the CRU to unlock in 540 days if you can convert it into World CRU and wait for a year instead of waiting like for 3 years? And that's why we decided to write the smart contract in such a way. So in 365 days, you will have your CRU tokens, and in 1 year, you will get your first unlocked World CRUs. So why would you wait for 2 more years until all of your CRUs get unfrozen? And then you exchange them into World CRU. But in any case, when you exchange them into World CRUs, a new unfreeze schedule will start. 365 days, then 1% per month, then 1.5% per month, and like this for another 1,000 days. So in my opinion, there is no like hard math behind it. It's not rocket science. For example, you decided your cutoff line is 365 days, and the rest of it you convert. Someone is asking, can I do it in parts? Yes, you can, but why? So if you I mean, instead of paying $15, you'll pay $5 for conversion. Okay, then 1 month later, you will put a you will push the cutoff line 1 month later. Okay, but your CRUs will not unlock in 1 month. Those who are due to be unlocked in 365 days. Don't overcomplicate your life. So basically, either you pick all of your CRUs and convert them into World CRUs and stake them for UNTB, or decide on the cutoff line. Someone says the sooner you convert, the sooner you get unlocked World CRU. And Maria says, I totally agree. As I said, paying for conversion is absolutely voluntary. If you see that you have a lot of huge CRU packages, as on this slide, so see it's 500. What does it say? 453, 128. Well, this is a decent number of CRUs, but sometimes the pieces of packages are so small, like 1 CRU, 2, 3 CRUs, 0.4, 0.05 CRUs. Sometimes, because if part of the CRUs got unfrozen, then you will still get for that month a small piece of the package. For example, there is like something left, the balance left of 0.25 CRUs. And of course, you wouldn't pay $1 for this less than 1 CRU. It makes no sense. So you can skip them. And you pay only those packages that are hefty, that are serious packages, right? So this is another thing to remember. So this table that you see, first you see when you pick the schedule. Can we go back one slide here? Yes, in here. When you choose the schedule, you see the overall amount. For example, in this case, it's 4,045 CRUs. Someone will see 2 million or 500,000, depending on how big packages you have. And now let's move on to the next slide. Okay. And this window here, the pending exchange transactions. Let's call them pending transactions. Drop the word exchange. It does not always fit all the items that you chose for conversion. So you see 2 million and they start confirming and new transactions pop up. So out of this window, maybe you have 60 frozen items. You confirm 5 or 6 and then new transactions pop up, because this window does not host all the transactions. For example, you know how many CRUs you wanted to convert, and you do the math, and you see that it might not be the entire amount, because all those transactions might not have found space on your window. Because if you received CRU points under the marketing plan as a gift, we received them for almost 2 years, or there will be at least 24 frozen items. We're talking about leaders who received those CRUs from their certificate account to the share account. Usually those items repeat each other, because every month it will be the same size. For example, as in this slide, you see 128. Sorry, no, 198, 198. You see, it's just bits of the same frozen item, but you still have to pay for each transaction, and the same for 1,820. And you might think, but I already paid for 1,820. But you might remember that if you had 4,000 CRUs, they were split by the smart contract in this 7 bits. So you shouldn't be worried if you pay for a transaction and then you see the same transaction with the same amount. It's normal. So someone says, if I don't pay, what happens? Good question. When you already set the task for the exchange, then out of the So you will have your frozen CRUs disappear, and they haven't yet popped up as world CRUs. And this difference, for example, if you paid for some of them and didn't pay for others, I don't know, you paid for big packages and you didn't pay for 0.05, 0.1, 1 CRU, it will be suspended in there until they get unfrozen. They do not disappear, don't worry. If you don't pay for them, you'll just have to wait for them to get unlocked. I don't know, 3 years, if it takes 3 years, because usually what you exchange locked CRUs. So you put them for conversion, you didn't pay for that conversion. After a certain period of time, you click refresh frozen, and those CRUs will pop up out of the frozen state, hopefully. Let's see in some time what happens with those who haven't paid. But if you did pay, then all of those frozen items will be moved to the world CRU. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Yes, in the bottom, you can see those transactions under the schedule, under the chart. And many partners, what they do is they click convert, and then they immediately run and try to see it on the main page, whether they were converted or not. You don't have to go there after you click convert. You have to wait for those pending transactions first. They will be below the chart. Then you click on the button and pay. Each transaction for each frozen item separately. We pay using USDU. So the question is how to move USDU to your wallet. There are two ways to do it. Listen carefully. So the first way is to move USDUs from the exchange, and the minimum amount is 50 USDUs plus 1 USDU as a commission. So it's basically 51 from the exchange. Or you can buy USDU from other partners, peer-to-peer exchange. So you wrote to someone in the chat, send them rubles, euros, dollars, rupees, whatever, and they move 50, 20 USDUs to your wallet. If you don't pay, it will not get back as it was. All the operations are irreversible on the blockchain. You will get them back only when they get unfrozen according to the schedule. So either you get them USDUs from the exchange or peer-to-peer. As for the non-verified users, why non-verified users cannot withdraw money from the exchange? As for the verification, well, this decision is made by the Estonian head of the exchange together with the lawyer, and in my opinion, they are playing safe. We had agreements originally that if it's under $500, non-verified users can withdraw that money from the exchange and top up the exchange account if it's below $500. But the Estonian directors were afraid that there will be unverified partners who will create 100 unverified accounts and multiply 100 by 500. It's what? It's $50,000. So they decided to remove the withdrawal from non-verified accounts. Maybe it will change, but for now, this is their decision. So it's better to purchase USDU from other partners. So let's move on to the next slide, I guess. Okay, step 6. We go after you paid for your pending transactions. You either refresh the entire page, F5, or click refresh, or you click on refresh balance so that our world CRU would finally show up as frozen CRUs. We saw on the previous slide that we had 4,055 CRUs, but overall 417 were frozen. 617 were frozen. So when I did this kind of instructions, I exchanged all frozen CRUs, and it turned out to be 4,617. And I kept, you see, 364 unlocked CRUs. So they should pop up here, the converted amount. There are already complaints coming in that they converted, yet they cannot see their CRUs either on their tokens, either on the CRU account or World CRU accounts. If it happens, it means that you haven't yet paid. So they are in the limbo. They're not yet CRU. They're not CRU already anymore, but they're not yet World CRU. So they are in the limbo if you haven't paid. Maybe you paid, but the blockchain at that moment was maybe overloaded. So it still needs times for that transaction to be fully processed. As it happens in Ethereum and blockchain and Bitcoin exchange or blockchain. Sometimes transactions take time. Sometimes it takes several days or hours or days for the tokens to get to their destination point. Although our blockchain is very fast, unlike Bitcoin and Ethereum, our block is validated in half a second. Fixed confirmation from the network is 3 seconds. But if the CPU is occupied, then nodes are occupied with entries all the time, then unless our transaction is written in 5 nodes, you won't see that transaction on your screen. So we need time, not maybe several seconds, sometimes it's several minutes, 20 minutes, but you need to simply refresh balance after some time, and eventually you will see the updated balance. Or you take a look at the pending transactions. If the transactions are still in pending, then you have to pay for them, and then they will pop up in here. Let's move on to the next slide and next step. Okay, here we finally get to staking. That's the whole raison d'etre, right, of the entire thing. Why do we convert CRU into World CRU? To stake them for UNTB. So guys, for those of you who do not speak English, pending means like suspended, waiting, in limbo. It's something that is still waiting to be completed. So it means pending transaction means it's waiting to be paid for. So you created the transaction, but you haven't yet paid for it. As soon as you do, it will go where it's supposed to go. Or in process, something like that, being processed. There are lots of synonyms. So if you get your locked World CRU, stake them. There is nothing else you can do with them, all of them. And people are asking whether there is a difference in the yield of UNTB between staking locked World CRUs or unlocked CRUs. There is no difference whatsoever in terms of yield of UNTB. The only difference is that we have just 10% of unlocked CRUs. 2 years later, you can do the math. 6 months for 1%, then 6 months, 1.5%. So it's like around 10% of unlocked CRUs that can be staked. So 90% are locked. And those 90% that you stake will yield you a higher income than the small share of unlocked CRUs. This is the whole point of converting CRU into World CRU. There are two reasons why you do it. You purchase security tokens World CRU. On the other hand, those locked World CRUs start working for you. They yield you an income in the form of UNTB utility tokens. Now let's move on to the next slide.
The news about the exchange. I'm reading your questions in the chat. Well, 3 weeks verification at the exchange. Someone's verification was in malfunction. Look, this is a very complicated story, our verification, as AML officers routinely check and audit every partner, and in case something is done wrong, the exchange could be deprived of its license. And 143 people, their verification was rejected because they matched some politicians or someone else, and these people were submitted, their list was submitted to the police department, criminal police department, financial police department, so that they will be investigated whether this person is allowed to trade in cryptocurrencies or not. The process is slow, and I know that starting from Monday, new people were recruited to the team of verifiers, but again, new people come and it takes time for them to understand the process. And there is a question about the withdrawal by non-verified people. I have no influence. As the management of the exchange, they are accountable to regulators, and they will never agree to break the law until they get the official response from this financial police department whether non-verified users may actually withdraw. I believe it's nonsense. They are allowed to top up, but not allowed to withdraw. And from our end, we suggested the following: to arrange a simplified process of verification like we had in the back office. The passport, the picture from the passport, but according to the European law, it is called GDPR. So the personal data law, only global pass that has all the access to this personal data, only global pass can handle and process your passports. Therefore, I don't know how long it will take to speed up the process of verification. Hopefully another few weeks and it will be done, but there is no one to blame, as we need to do everything in line with the law. We may not break it, be in breach. And if there are some breaches, so AML officers who are criminally liable for any decision they make, they don't want to be held liable. And the fact that verification was denied, I don't know the reasons, maybe because of some errors in the system or malfunctions or bad quality of the passport. Hopefully, in another few weeks, it will improve. Why Estonia? Look, if you know, in most countries of the world, there are no laws on cryptocurrencies. Estonia was one of the few European member states to introduce licensing for cryptocurrencies. So this exchange has a license for crypto exchange, crypto fiat exchange, and wallet management. Whereas in other countries, they don't have such laws at all. And where they have them, for instance, in Switzerland, the UK, Germany, Singapore, these advanced countries with very good and proper regulation in cryptocurrencies, to open an exchange, the company needs at least 2.2 million as the authorized capital for the exchange in Singapore or London. It's like a license for the banking activity. And in these countries, it's even more complicated. Do you really believe that if our exchange is opened in Singapore, it would be easier? So in Singapore, they have a death penalty for different crimes. And therefore, Estonia is an easy environment. This is quite a good jurisdiction, very loyal to crypto currencies, but only at the start point when we need to show everything to the regulator so that our license is not terminated. It is done slowly. We want to make it fast, but only cats are born fast. And therefore, please, again and again, we beg you to be patient. Well, what else did we identify this week? There was another technical hiccup revealed, and we are very grateful to the partners who, in a smart way, explain the problem. There was average partner under the nick Paul. I don't know his name. He actually addressed me directly, firstly in the chat, and then said that orders at the exchange are cancelled because of unknown circumstances. You set a limit order to buy EOS, and the price gets closer to this order, and the order is cancelled. And if you believe that I am in the chat from the early morning till the evening and read millions of messages, it's not the case. So the entire day we are busy with the development of these products, troubleshooting, and I look at the chat either once a day or once every 3 days, and even someone wrote something about this cancellation of orders. I didn't see it. I'm not in that chat or other exchange officers that will keep note of this. And Paul wrote to me directly saying that it is cancelled because of unknown reason. And our IT team noticed, I don't know how to explain it. Look, when there are matching orders, when one order is to match another order, the other order in price, in value. And at this point, someone in his balance, either the person who sets the order or the one with the matching order, some of them in their balance have not enough money to pay a charge, a fee. For each transaction, there is 0.5% fee. And if you, for instance, you order 100% USDU to be bought and the remaining part is not enough to pay this commission, this charge, the orders are matched, but since there is no charge, it is cancelled. And people were complaining in the chat that the exchange is doing something intentionally so that our orders are cancelled. But look, it looks like a horror film that the exchange is trading against its people, its partners. And when we found out this reason, the reason is because you don't have enough amount in your balance so that orders cannot match. And today they made some adjustments to the program code so that the commission is inside the order, but not on top of it. So it has been fixed and there will be an update. Well, as far as the withdrawal goes, in particular related to EOS, so every day we added CPU to the exchange wallet as there were a lot of EOS related transactions and there was no commission for withdrawal. But since we have to stake a lot of EOS for the wallet, exchange wallet, there will be a commission for the withdrawal in EOS worth 1 EOS. Another pieces of news. So we will add withdrawal into fiat. So the global unit payment system, now you can top up with fiat currencies, US dollar and euro via the Quantum. But there is a task to add to the global unit pay between the wallets and backwards US dollars or euro to the global unit payment system. So you may top up and you may withdraw in fiat money. The assignment has been set and we will test this system quite likely next week. There will be a function of withdrawal into fiat into the payment system. And moreover, hopefully next week there will be an order available to the issue of plastic cards. In Switzerland, there are different batches of these cards, and quite soon it will be available for the delivery. But there is good and bad news. First of all, the shipment of cards will be available to Europe. It's easy. Whereas to Russia and CIS member states, I don't know when we can expect to get them in these countries. But the virtual card could be ordered by everyone, and you can actually, through the internal transfer it to this virtual card, and then you can make virtual payments. And I know that in Estonia, so having virtual cards, people even bought some furniture in IKEA, in other stores. And inside the global unit payment system, you can buy Ethereums, Bitcoins, and USDCs and withdraw them externally to external exchanges. If the Bitcoin exchange rate, you don't like it, I know that everyone dislikes it, then through the payment system, you may transfer to the global unit pay and to the other exchange and buy there. So why do we have these prices at our exchange? Look, at present, those people who sell CRUs low, those who got them at the start in large numbers, those who don't understand the value or they are really hungry and they are in a rush to sell, and the only way to cash out the withdrawal of these CRUs into any other currency is Bitcoin or Ethereum. The more the demand for Bitcoin, EOS, and Ethereum, the higher the exchange rate. And in history, 2018, at Korean exchange, the exchange rate for these coins was 30% different compared to the world exchange. And many people were doing this. So they can buy Bitcoin somewhere at a cheaper price, then transfer it to the Korean exchange and sell it at a more expensive price. And actually at the Korean exchange, you cannot withdraw it, and therefore it was senseless. But now when you don't have USDU here and you can exchange it one-to-one, so therefore there is this speculation. The exchange does not trade. Our AML officers have no right to trade at the exchange, as this is insider information, and they are forbidden to have the exchange account. And therefore manipulation with exchange rates is only because of our partners. If they see that there is the need to buy Bitcoin, they elevate the price and do not sell cheaper than 63, whereas the partners who are impatient and they sell CRU or UNTB, they need to withdraw the money to cash out, and they will buy even at 53. So there are those who bought one Bitcoin at 100,000. We look at it. Are you crazy, guys? Where are you in a rush? Why are you in a rush? You waited for 2 years. And why are you in a hurry right now? It will stabilize because this is better test regime, very small limits with non-clear verification, non-withdrawal to fiat, and it limits trading, both entry and exit. And while we are in this mode, you'd better not enter this exchange. Simply have a look once a week or overpay. And I believe, in my view, this behavior is not uh, acceptable, but we have it. So this is the news about Unitex exchange, that IT team was assigned that there is an urgent task to activate global unit pay payment system to exchange USDU into US dollar and euro to withdraw them from exchange to your payment system. I believe it will be really cool when people may exchange USDU into US dollar, then no one will be chasing Bitcoin, and the prices for these currencies will be like everywhere globally. So there is a question about this support exchange. Support team is not answering. Look, it's overloaded. The technical support team is a team which is sleepless for a number of months as we launched blockchain. And these are the guys who answer you in average back office, at the exchange, and in the Academy of Private Investor. They are the same guys, and they don't know which question to answer. And moreover, daily we have something new. Today, conversion of CRU into World CRU. Tomorrow is the launch of UGain. 1 week after the launch of legal policy, then digital guarantees. And you know, this snowball effect of new products coming up, and we recruit new people to support team, expand its capacity, and we will recruit in addition the people who will work in the technical support of the exchange with some experience in cryptocurrencies, so that it works 24/7 and you get your answers quickly. And hopefully in April the exchange support team will have this functionality of tickets. So at present you can send to emails, and with developers make the tickets, you go to your account at the exchange and you place your ticket. If you fail to receive your money or you cannot withdraw, so that we see that you are the holder of this exchange account, and the technical support through your ticket will communicate with you. This is another assignment assigned to our IT team. It will take another few weeks to introduce, to launch it. Dina is telling me that we have additional people in team and they are being trained, and gradually it will get better and better. Well, a button in the UGPay back office to transfer tokens to World CRU. Look, the load on blockchain was aggressive. Many people exchanging CRUs into World CRUs. They face the need to increase CPU or something else. And today, CRU converted into World CRU, over 1 billion CRUs converted, whereas altogether we have 35 billion to be converted in total, 3% in 1 day. Can you hear me? Because someone is complaining that there is no sound. We can hear you. Look, this load on blockchain should be reduced. 24 hours will pass, the news will be around the globe. Colombia will wake up, Australia, the United States will wake up, Canada, New Zealand, Vietnam, India. And it takes a few days so that the majority of people benefit from this function of conversion of CRU into world CRU. And when the load reduces, then we will do synchronization with the UGPay back office. It will take another few days for the partners to see their green button to go to blockchain from UGPay back office. I believe these are the key pieces of news. Well, this Saturday, there will be an interesting webinar, a closed meeting participated by Andrei Havratov, Harin Arun, Artyom Kabanov. Artyom Kabanov is a new personality, a new person who sells and buys shares. He is responsible for stock exchange. And if you are eligible for the closed meeting, you are a consultant or bought a package of above 1,000, you will get a link. I'm sad that Harin won't be present, but at least in the news, it was announced that the closed meeting, and there Andrei Havratov will tell you why our token is undervalued, why it is traded so cheap, and it's similar to a story of Laszlo who mined bitcoins, 100,000 bitcoins, and actually exchanged them into pizzas. The behavior of our partners is very similar, but this functionality of the conversion of CRUs into world CRU, when people understand that it's profitable to buy CRUs at 8-9 cents at the exchange and then convert them into world CRU, which costs 35 cents, I believe it will enhance the situation. So if you are eligible, please attend this webinar. There will be a lot of interesting things there. Well, and meanwhile, I'm saying goodbye to you and see you next time, the last Thursday of the month, the fourth Thursday of the month. Bye-bye to all of you, and thank you very much for being with me.